Good morning, everybody. It's Mrs. O'Keefe. I hope you do remember that today you were not going to have me with you. I talked to you about that quite a few times yesterday. Also, please remember that we do not actually have school on Wednesday. We are off for Veterans Day. So the next time you will be logging in will be Thursday, in which you will see another video. But for today, this is what you're going to be doing. So obviously, first, we always start by doing the Pledge of Allegiance, at least in my morning class. Afternoon class, if you want to or you hadn't taken a look at the video, you may want to do that. So if everybody could please go ahead and stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is Tuesday, November 10th. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. On Veterans Day, we pay tribute to all of our veterans, alive and deceased. We give a special thanks on Veterans Day to those veterans that are still alive and have served our country in peacetime and wartime. Please take a moment tomorrow to thank the veterans for their service. Have a good day.
Okay, so that was Miss Zidzik. She is a fifth grade language arts teacher. All right, so next thing, this is what you would see if we were in class. So today's homework is going to be to finish the Practice Buddy 4-1. If you remember, we were introduced to 4-1 yesterday when we started that. And I would like for you to go on to ST Math for 20 minutes. So that is your homework for today. Practice Buddy 4-1, ST Math for 20 minutes. Now, moving on. Here's estimation 180. Obviously, I can't have you answer it. Maybe you want to put some stuff in the chat. That's fine. I think that would be a great idea if you can put, and there goes Harley. If you could go ahead and put into the chat what you think your answer is. So, about how much does this turkey weigh? So, there's not going to be a video to go along with it. I want you to just kind of take a look at it. If you've ever noticed, if you do celebrate Thanksgiving and have turkey on Thanksgiving, I always do. Our turkeys are usually about that, maybe a little bit more. But that turkey, put your answer into the chat so I can take a look and see how many of you actually watched the video and listened to what I said. So you can pause it now if you want to put it in there, or keep going. And here is the answer. How much does the turkey weigh? The turkey actually weighs, dun, 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 19.55 pounds. 19 and 55 hundredths of a pound. So if we were to round this, this 5 would add up. So it's almost a 20-pound turkey. All right. So that turkey is almost 20 pounds. I wonder how many of you came close to that answer. 20-pound turkey. Very good. All right, so moving on, here we have it. We are going to be moving on to the 4-1 topic, continuing with 4-1. I just want to remind you, this was what we did in class yesterday, and we came up with the answer of 400 desks, 600 chairs, and 800 pencils. And remember, these were some of the solutions of how to solve it. So the first one, remember, we said you could just do simple mental math. So 2 times 2 is 4 and add your zeros. They also broke it apart. You can use the distributive property to break it apart. And then we also said that you can go ahead if you wanted to, and you could use an area model to solve it. Now, after you do that, ladies and gentlemen, assigned to you also is the visual learning. So we're going to go ahead and watch the visual learning together.
How can you multiply by multiples of 10? The number of visitors of each age group for the Sunny Day Amusement Park are shown below. How many children visit the park in one day?
Okay, so if we were in class, I would ask you what to do here.
Select your answer.
I want to remind you that topic 4.1 is a direct review of 3.1, only adding another digit basically to our answer. So it says how many children visit the park in one day. So if you said 60, oops, I'd say no, because that's adults under 65. If you said 40, I would say no, that's adult over 65. And then you went, oh, well, wait a second. Maybe I add everything up. No, that is not correct. Oh, children. Correct.
80 children visit the park in one day. How many children visit the park in 30 days? Find 30 times 80. You can use basic facts and place value to multiply by multiples of 10. 30 times 80 equals 3 tens times 8 tens. 3 tens times 8 tens equals 24 hundreds.
So I want to remind you what they're using here is place value all the way back from topic 1, okay? And what they did to get 24 hundreds is they multiplied 3 times 8 and 24. So if we multiply our tens, we get hundreds.
Or 2,400, since 10 times 10 equals 100. 2,400 children visit the park in 30 days. Another way to find 30 times 80 is to use properties of operations.
Distributive.
Break 30 into 3 times 10 and break 80 into 8 times 10. Use the commutative property of multiplication to rearrange the factors.
So think of it. Here they use the distributive property because they're basically breaking it apart. So they're saying 30 is the same as 3 times 10. Makes sense. 80 is the same as 8 times 10. And then because we're multiplying it together, that's what we did. Now we'll talk about the commutative property.
Use the associative property of multiplication to regroup the factors. Simplify.
Now let's look at what they did there. So first off, they broke it apart into 3 times 10 and 8 times 10. And if I were to solve these, not add them, if I were to solve these, this would still be 30 times 80. So what did they do? They used the associative property to break it apart into more mental math types of problems. I know that 3 times 8 is a basic fact, and I know that 10 times 10 is a basic fact. So now I have 24 times 100. Well, 24 times 1 is 24, and add my zeros, 2,400.
2,400 children visit the park in 30 days.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that is what you are going to be doing. Now, once again, that could be in your in your workbook. I apologize. I was trying to find something. In your workbook, you'll see the visual learning in a print version, but I also did assign it to you when you go to your classes. Now, in addition to that, you had the quick check yesterday that you needed to complete. Now, please make sure, take a look back at those quick check type of questions because you are going to see them again. Now, when you get to 4.1, I have assigned to you the practice buddy. Now, the practice buddy is homework, but it's also something you can be working on in class. So let's take a look. This is the one I assigned you. Now, it tells you that there are going to be 10 questions. Now, I'm not going to answer the questions. I'm just going to remind you of some of the stuff that's here. So it says use a basic fact and place value to answer. So let's just say I do this correct and I say 3 times 5 is 15. I have, because what's on this side has to equal what's on this side. I have 1, 2 zeros here. So I have 1, 2 zeros there. I'm going to check my answer. And I got it correct. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to the next question. I have the same thing. Maybe this time I mess up and I go, okay, 3 times 4 is 7. 1, 2 zeros. I check my answer. No, to use a basic fact and place value, rewrite each factor as a number of tens and then multiply. What did I do? Oh, I messed up. So then I go, you know what? I'm not really sure. I can go to question help. I can view another example. I can see animation. I can use any of these to help me out. So hopefully you do realize that 700 is not the answer and you fix that. I am not going to receive any credit, but I'm okay with that. Now I need to see what's missing here. 10 times what will give me 600. So it's kind of like working backwards. Now I know some of you will say, I don't know how to divide because it's really 600 divided by 10. But if you say it how I said it and said 10 times what would give you 600, or find the basic fact and add the zeros, you can work it backwards. Same thing for question number 4. Same thing for question number 5. Question number 6, the product of 2 factors is 4,500. So once again, you need to know that product is the answer to a multiplication problem and factors are the things you multiply together. So basically, they multiplied 2 different numbers to get 4,500. If one of the factors is 90, what is the other? Well, you have to think back to the problems you just did. So it would be 90 times what would give me 4,500. That goes in there. You have some drop downs that give you as options to fill out. Again, if you need question help, you can go to another example and it's going to give you step by step how they went through and solved this type of question. Okay? So I'm going to move on. Again, Celeste and her classmate are raising money to help the victims of a recent earthquake. While that's a wonderful thing, I don't really need to know that to answer my question. They ask for donations of $30. Probably will need that. They get 80 donations. Probably will need that. Explain how to find the total amount of money they raised, right, and solve an equation. So they're telling you let R, which is the variable, be the amount of money that they raised. The value of R is given by the multiplication equation R equals what? So you have to find out how much R is worth. So that's what you're doing here. You're taking this information from here, which is a word problem, but very similar to the questions you did from questions 1 through 5 or 4, where you had to find missing digits. Okay, same thing again. Number 9, what is one example of a product that will have the same number of zeros in the factors and the product? What is one example of a product that will not have the same number? So, what is the one example of a product that will have the same number of zeros in the factors? So you're going to pick one answer to go here. And then your last question. Which equation has 30 as the missing factor? So what one goes there and where the question mark is, that would be 30. So that is your homework or classwork for today. Now, after you finish that, the last thing I told you is that you are going to work on ST Math. So for those of you that don't remember, right, you're going to go to Clever. I am going to log in. Oops. Sorry. Not as a student. Let me go back. I'm going to log in as a teacher. It wouldn't let me do that. I'm going to type in my school, Samsel, Upper Elementary School. I'm going to log in with Google. And once I do that, I can go right to ST Math. And when I log into ST Math, remember guys, I can see when you logged in, how much time you were on, as well as the number of puzzle pieces that you have gotten. So that is what you are working on. If you have any questions, obviously you can email me. I will try to get to you as soon as I can. I will not be around again, like I said, for office hours, but if you need anything, you can go to Miss Grimm or Miss Hensel. And that is pretty much it. Again, today's assignment should be pretty much a review of what we did in topic 3, as well as what we finished in topic 4.1 from yesterday. So please make sure you take your time. Please make sure you do your best work. And then obviously make sure that you go to classwork and that you mark your assignment as done when you have completed it. All right, guys, thank you. And I will see you again on Thursday.